How do you keep your mind strong when there's no money coming in for the month? How do you keep hammering away with the same energy? The real test is in front of you right now. How much studying are you doing now? How much self-improvement are you doing now? And I print out a picture of the beach and I put it in front of me. Now, every single time I take a call, it's connecting. It's Florida, June 10, June 10, June 10. I've been getting a lot of questions, specifically on like Instagram DMs from people about mindset, you know. I put up a question every week that says, you know, what would you like to hear me talk about? What are you missing? And some of the things I've been hearing is, how do you keep your mind strong, you know, in this kind of market? How do you keep your mind strong when there's no money coming in for the month? How do you keep hammering away with the same energy if you're having a really bad week or a really bad month or a really bad day? So I've been getting a lot of stuff on mindset, and I want to go over something with you guys. I call it Everything in Life Connects. And it's about learning to realize that every single action and move you make in your life matters and connects to something else. Isaiah, I'm glad to see you on this call. This is going to be a good one for you. Aram told me that you're putting in a lot of effort this month. We appreciate it. It all started, right, with the ability to make one decision. When you realize that that one decision connects to another decision and a third decision and a fourth decision and a fifth decision, you start realizing that maybe every decision you make matters. And this not only applies to your business life, but it also applies to your personal life. And I'll give you guys a perfect example of that with Danny. And I just want you to see this chain of decisions that led to this here. Okay? The first decision was being friends with Adam Amer in high school and in middle school. Okay, some of you might know him, right? That decision led to a friendship with me and Adam. Adam ends up moving to California, and he went through a lot of shit. We didn't communicate much. We lost contact. There was another decision that was made where Adam added me on Instagram. We started following each other. And then I don't know who DM'd who. Maybe he DM'd me or I DM'd him. And that led to a phone call with me and him talking. Another decision or two. This is what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe. That decision led to Adam reaching out to me and saying, why don't you ever come back to California? I want to show you, you know, what I'm doing out here. Me making the decision to come and visit Adam in California was another decision, right? I could have said no. I could have said, I don't want to go for business. I could go to Florida. I could go anywhere else. I'm not the biggest fan of California, right? But I said, let's go visit Adam. I visit Adam, make another decision. The decision was, I'm going to work on this trip. I want to originate clients while I'm in California, and I'm going to work from his office at Lone Vault, right? Go to California and work, okay? And who walks in? Danny and Eric. Again, I don't know Danny and Eric at the time. They walk into his office. They tell me these are the guys that own West Capital. And I have another decision to make. I could keep banking and try to close another loan for the day, or I could aux out and meet these guys. So I made the decision to aux out and meet them with no intentions or anything. Just so, you know, meet and greet them, see who they are, see what they're doing, and just chat it up with them. Adam throws me in there and he throws a pitch on me about, you know, joining West Capital. And then he tells them about what I do and how I could help. And then I make another decision to go straight for, you know, the kill. I talk to Danny and Eric right away and tell them what I've been doing. And I ask them questions. And I know Danny probably wasn't expecting it. And we had a long, good conversation at the office with Adam. It's another decision, right? After that, I made the decision to follow up because I always follow up. And we followed up together. And email after email, phone call after phone call. Danny, it took a long time to get you as a client, right? A few times until finally I said, Danny, put me in your damn VP meeting. Let me speak to these guys one time. And I got to talk to the VPs. And all of that led to so much business I've done with West Capital and them being, you know, my favorite and most loyal clients. And working with Al Bennett's team and taking them to another level, and then working with other teams like John and Sean. Like, all of these things started from me and Adam's friendship. So if you just take that simple circumstance of every one of those decisions, it's about 25 decisions in there that led to this. And the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of times in our life, we don't greet that person that we want to greet, but we say, maybe next time. Sometimes we want to speak up in a meeting and we don't speak up in a meeting, maybe next time. Sometimes we don't do that extra ARP for a client. We say maybe next time. Sometimes we don't try to talk to that girl or guy at the bar and we say maybe next time. And the crazy thing is when you think about fear, you have to flip the fear, reverse it, right? People are scared to do something. You have to be scared to not do something. Think about it that way. Like, it's not that I'm scared to call this client for a third time today, or it's not that I'm scared to talk to this client's spouse that's yelling in the background. It's I'm scared that if I don't do that, what if I would have lost out on the opportunity if I did do it? And if you look at everything as flipping the fear upside down, instead of living and saying like, oh, I'm scared to do that because this and this would have happened, I'm scared not to do that. There's no way I can't do that because then I'm going to live with the fear of what would have happened if I did do it. And that fear turns into regret, right? Which is a whole nother fear. So this whole philosophy, it turned into a crazy obsession for me. And I think it like changed my life where every single time I'm somewhere, it doesn't matter who's around or what I'm feeling, I do what's on my mind and I make the action right away, whether that's on a sales call, whether that's with greeting a new prospect, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's speaking up to a family member, whatever it is, I do it because I don't want to have the fear of not doing it and what would have happened. So the way this all started, it didn't start with Danny's story. It started actually at Rocket one day. I was not happy with my weight. It was one of those years, we pack on mortgage pounds. Throughout mortgage bankers' careers, you see them get big, get light, get big, get light. Some of them never come back. It's a tough struggle, right? I was going on the route of never coming back. And I wasn't happy with myself and I wasn't really my best version of myself that I wanted to be. And as I was walking out, I ran into a guy. His name is Editar. I don't know if you know him, Danny. I walked by and Editar's bald and he's jacked. I don't know. The guy must be in his 40s, but the guy probably has an 8-pack and he has veins coming out of his arms and he looks like the Hulk. And he's natural and he works hard and he eats right. So I was walking out and the decision was to say hi to him instead of walking out of the office at 7:30 and rushing to my car. That was the first decision I made to him. And then he brought up my weight and instead of just, throwing it over the shoulder and saying like, yeah, mortgage pounds walking out, I said, would you help me? And he said, what do you mean? Because at that point I knew I needed some accountability or I needed something different. So I'm like, let me see if this guy really gives a shit or not. I'm like, yeah, I said, help me. I'm like, I have a problem, man. I've been eating at night and I haven't been going to the gym. I'm like, what time you been going? He's like, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, bet, call me and I'll go with you. He's like, you're not joking, are you? I'm like, no. He's like, take my number down. I take his number down. He takes mine down. He's like, I'm going to call you tonight and make sure you don't eat. And I'm going to call you tomorrow morning. You're going to the gym with me. And sure as hell, he called me at night and I didn't want to let him down. So I didn't eat. I slept early. He called me in the morning to go to the gym. The gym led to me getting into work by 7 in the morning, originating like 4 or 5 clients that day. This was like 2-3 years ago. After work, ate clean again, did a podcast at night, went to sleep, did it with him again. And it turned into like 3-4 weeks of shredding 15-20 pounds, all from the simple decision of me talking to him and helping him hold me accountable and putting him to the test and putting him to the challenge. And that was like when this whole thing started, that everything's a test. One more thing that happened that I talk about all the time, especially with bankers, and I think I talked about it to you guys one time, is we work so hard for the tests that we take in our life. Like one of the hardest tests I took was a SAFE test. I don't know if it was really hard because some people say it was easy. Maybe I just got a bad, mixture the first time, bad combination of questions. But I felt like I studied the first time and I hit a 74%. And Rocket told me, you got one more shot to pass this or else you're not going to be here. And when that happened, I hit another gear where I said, I'm not talking to any friends. I'm not going out. I'm literally going to sit home, study, stay up all night, wake up early, and I'm going to just suffocate my mind in this book. Info dump right on the board, call people, join groups. And the second time around, I got an 86%. But like that reminded me that there's no other levels to this thing if you really put your mind to it and you start connecting everything in your life to it. And a lot of people, I know you guys have a broker test that you take, and some other people in other professions on the call do different kind of tests. But whatever that hardest test you had to take was, I always tell bankers, like, how hard did you study for the safe? And the bankers always tell me, man, I studied hard, like 30 days, all night long. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. I did all this. I said, great. What did the safe get you? Right? And they said, what do you mean? I said, what did the safe get you? So they said, they got me this job. Yeah, well, what did it really get you? It got you this headset, right? It got you the keyboard, the mouse, the screen, maybe this chair at West Capitol or at Rocket, or wherever you are, at Reliable. And then I said, what have you done now to pass this test that you're in? They said, which test? I said, the test of hitting a big commission check, reaching your goals, accomplishing your dreams. The test that really matters, right? Who gives a shit about the safe test? Who gives a shit about the broker test? That just got you to this chair. The real test is in front of you right now. How much studying are you doing now? How much self-improvement are you doing now? How many nights are you losing sleep right now? How many people have you called now? How much are you doing now compared to what you were doing before? And a lot of them say, not really much. And then I say, well, if you weigh it out, the safe test got you this chair. But if you treat this like a test right now, this could get you the house, the cars, the money, the businesses, the real estate, whatever it is that you want. Why would you stop there? And it's an interesting concept when you start thinking about the hardest thing you've ever done in your life and the effort and the energy you put into it. And then think about what you're doing now and what kind of effort and energy are you putting into it now. So that's what started this whole thing, and it kept on going. Acez Academy is here because of that, right? Acez Academy started off with, I was reading books. Well, it originally started off with me getting a USB in Miami from somebody that was a business partner in 2010 of Tony Robbins. Listened to Tony Robbins, fell in love with his motivation. And then that turned into me going to a seminar for Tony Robbins. Then I started reading books, which I've never read. And then instead of listening to music, I started listening to podcasts. And then when I was reading books, one time Chad Weinbaum, who's a senior leader at Rocket, told me, the book, The 48 Laws of Power, you finished it? I said, yeah. He said, what are your main takeaways from it? And I drew a blank. And he's like, didn't you just finish reading? I'm like, yeah, but honestly, like, I know some of the laws, but, it's kind of just not that clear to me right now. And I thought I had a problem. Like, how the hell did I spend 2 months reading this book and I don't remember shit from it? I can't really like spit out any facts from it or anything good. So if you scroll all the way down on my YouTube channel, I made videos called the top 10 takeaways. And what I would do is I'd summarize a book in 10 takeaways in 10 minutes so I don't ever forget it, But also people could watch it that don't have time to read the book, and they could be like, let me just see what this book's about. So kind of a book summary video. And those videos, after doing 10, 20, 30, some of them got popular and hit a lot of views, some of them didn't, turned into me doing motivational podcasts. And the motivational podcast turned into sales boot camp. And the sales boot camp turned into leadership boot camp and mindset boot camp. And I started doing it at Rocket. And then I started doing it for broker shops. And then all of that connected to this. So again, everything in your life connects. What if I didn't make the decision to do a book summary? Where would I be right now? And would I even be here? So that's just another example of decisions that lead. I'll give you a business example. And this just happened last week. I had a client, speaking of Loan Depot, the devil. I worked with him for 2 days, got his business, signed the documents, told him not to answer any calls. He answered Loan Depot. He thought it was me, and then he stopped answering me. They probably shredded my deal in half, and they probably gave him a better deal than me. And then I called him in the morning. This was the third day after the second day of not answering. The third day, it's usually like my last shot. I try weekdays and weekends, and then I usually withdraw them. And this is after doing like email, text, voicemail 3 times a day, calling off my cell phone, trying different things to reach him. He didn't answer in the morning. He didn't answer in the afternoon. He didn't answer in the evening.
He's a killer.
Thank you, Atif. We appreciate that, brother. He didn't answer the third time. And then I said, you know what? I've never called a client for a fourth time. And I was about to hit the withdraw button, and then I just said, F it. What if he answers at 8:59? And I called and he picked up. And he picked up and I'm like, man, you're busier than Obama. What happened? You haven't been answering me. I know you talked to Loan Depot. What'd they offer you? They're known for shredding our offers. I'm trying to talk to you here because I want to get you the best deal and I want to make sure that their offer is legitimate. And talked to him for an hour, ended up getting him back, not even matching their loan estimate. I still was 1,000 higher and he still did the business with me, all because I caught him on the phone call at 8:59 and put him into process. And that right there made me think when I walked away, what if I didn't call him a fourth time? What if I hit withdrawal on the loan? What would that connect to? You know? And this is crazy obsession that if you start thinking about it, instead of saying like, F this, I'm having a bad day, withdraw it. Like, what if I don't withdraw it? What if I call it at night? What if I try Sunday? It's an obsession. What if I didn't try everything to do this? Could I sleep at night knowing that I didn't give it my all? If you know that everything in your life connects. And that philosophy happens so many times. And I showed you guys in a couple of the trainings, texting somebody for 16 days straight. Then on the 17th day, sending a message saying 499 ? And finally getting an answer. Or trying different things like sending a picture of my family, sending a picture from Florida saying, hey, John, I'm on vacation and I'm still giving you a call. I'm not drinking any booze till you answer me. Call me back. Like trying different things until they finally respond. Or putting a fork in it and saying, I tried everything and I tried to connect every single possible outcome. And now I could sleep at night without the fear of knowing that I didn't do everything I can to get the business. And I think it applies to business. And I know, Isaiah, you're struggling, right? But one thing you have to realize through the struggle is if you stay persistent in your habits, these are habits that stick with you forever. You see, you're not only working for the monthly check, you're building your own stock. Isaiah is a stock, you're a business, right? If you ever made a business plan, people spend weeks on a business plan and they go so in depth with what they're going to do, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. Well, us and ourselves as humans, we are a business plan. And the fact that you're texting, emailing, calling, putting in the work early mornings, late nights, that's all character and work ethic that's going to follow you everywhere you go. And when the market booms, you're still going to have that because you're not going to drop it. While other people are like, oh shit, now I got to work hard. You're like, I'm used to working hard. It's not even hard anymore. It's just accustomed to me. You know, people are like, oh my God, how do you text clients 3 times a day and voicemail, do all this? I don't know any other way but to do that. I've been doing it so long. That's the only way I could operate now. And I think that also connects in business. So you might ask yourself, all right, everything in life connects. That's great. What do we do with that information now? Well, you have to ask yourself, what things do you want to connect in your life? If you want to be successful, if you want to close deals, what are the mini connections that come before that, right? Is it waking up early? Is it staying up late? Is it working weekends? Is it branding? Is it building relationships? Is it working out in the morning? Figure out what you want to do in your life. What's the end point for you? You know, the end result, the end connection of all connections. And then ask yourself, if I had to put 30 smaller chain reactions behind that, what are those 30 smaller chain reactions? What are those 20 smaller chain reactions? What are the 5 smaller chain reactions? And you write down those 5 smaller chain reactions and you apply them and turn them into habits every single day. Not like I'm going to try this, I'm going to do this, but every single day. Because I say it all the time. I had a bad January, I had a bad February, and in March I almost made $100,000. Isn't that crazy? What if in January and February I said, oh man, the market sucks. I'm not going to spend on marketing. I'm not going to do this. No, because I didn't think about the emotion of having the bad months or not getting the deals. I thought, I'm planting the seeds. I'm sending the emails. I'm doing the texts. I'm leaving every single client on a good note. I'm reading every single day. I'm working out every single day. I'm trying to expand my mind. I'm doing new things. I'm learning new things. I know it's going to come. And then eventually it comes. And in this game, all it takes is 1 month to make your year. $100,000 month could make a year, right? And what was that? That was all the emails and all the texts and all the 4 or 5 calls a day and all the jokes and all the stories I shared and all the tears I got on the phone calls. They all showed up in March somehow. Now in April, I've been on vacation. I just came back today, haven't taken a single lead yet. I'm swamped tomorrow with the academy. I barely have time to work today, but I'm saying in my head, all I need is 3 good days. All I need is 3 days to pop off and I could do 15 applications. So I'm not stressed because I know I'm going to do the right actions and the business is going to come. So the process. You build a process, you believe in the process, you make the process your holy book, your Bible, your Quran, your Torah, whatever you believe in. Make your process your holy book and follow that process every single day. The 4 most important processes you have is a process for yourself. What's a process you could do every single day when you wake up for yourself? I'll tell you, in Florida, I had a lot of self-reflection time, going on the beach, thinking to myself, where am I? Where do I want to be? June, August, September. How many book sales for the new leadership book? How am I going to do it? Who am I going to reach out to? Like manifesting things, because everything connects. Me writing down what's going to happen in August is going to connect to something else, right? Me talking to you on this call, when you leave today and you go on an Uber this Saturday, maybe in your head you're like, everything connects. Let me ask this guy if he has a mortgage. Maybe after this call, you wanted to reach out to Dan and ask him a question, but you've been scared. You're like, let me reach out to Dan and ask him this question. Maybe after this call, you've been scared to market, but you realize that everything in life connects. If you're not marketing, that's going to connect to no movement in your life, which is going to connect to being stagnant, right? So the process for yourself first. What do you do for yourself? Because you have to get yourself mentally prepared for the day. Is it meditation? Is it working out? Is it writing down your goals? But like, that's the first chain reaction, and starting your day is just writing down, what do you want to happen today? Right? Because that gets your mind thinking and that gets your actions a little different for the day. The second most important process to be a successful broker or salesperson or business person is, what is your ritual for your business? I come in every single day and I've been doing the same thing for 5 years. I blast 30 custom text messages in the morning to my hottest clients before I even start the day. And if it's before 8 a.m., I put them on sticky notes virtually on the computer so they're ready to go like bullets. I think what's going on in the world and I find an article or something that I make an email template with. I say, what new voicemail could I try today? And I write it out in the morning. And then I say, what time today am I going to take calls without letting nothing else distract me? What time today am I checking on my in process? What time today am I blasting these texts? And then I just write down that process for the day and I say, okay, this is a successful process. This connects to success. I'm just going to operate on the process and not think about the results. Because the gold is made outside the field, right? The gold is in your process. The gold is in your action. It's not in the one phone call. It's in the plan for all the phone calls today. It's in the plan for all the phone calls for the week. It's in the plan for all the phone calls in the month. Everything in life connects. What if I didn't ask every client for a referral? Instead of being scared to bother somebody and ask for a referral, how about everyone I'm losing by not asking for a referral? What if the last 100 people I talked to, I tried to force a referral? What would happen? Like flipping the fear upside down. What if I didn't send out texts today? How many people would have answered? You know how many broker shops I trained? Could you guys still hear me? You know how many broker shops I trained that never sent out text messages before I got there? And then now they send out text messages and 40% of their business is from text. And then the crazy thing is, like, they don't have that mindset of, man, how much business did I lose for 3 years by not texting? And that's what drives me crazy, and that's what makes me lose sleep. The third and fourth most important processes are the process with your family. You know, I seen Eric out with his family, maybe in Disney World or something. I have a process with my family. I try to do family days on Sunday. I try to do date nights Thursday nights. Like, I try to keep that process, the communication open, reminding myself after work, don't shut down, speak to your wife, communicate, be there for her like you are for all of you and all your clients. Like, I build a process that I think would work for my marriage or for my son or for my family. and I follow that process. And then the fourth process is for your passions. It's very hard for people like, if Isaiah is just doing this and he has no passions, he's not enjoying his life, he's not traveling or putting a reward at the end of the tunnel, it could get very dry and stagnant. If I have a hard time staying positive, I get this board in front of me and I write this down. I say, Florida, June 1st to June 10th, take the punches in your face and stop being a bitch. And I put this right in front of me. And then I book Florida on a credit card, 0% interest if I don't have the money. And I print out a picture of the beach and I put it in front of me. Now, every single time I take a call, it's connecting. It's Florida, June 10, June 10, June 10, June 10. Hang up, it's okay, June 10, June 10, June 10. Like, that's a process that I built to keep my goals in front of me so I know what I'm doing it for. So it's important that you have a process for that as well. What is the reward at the end of the tunnel? What are you going to do if you have a killer 60 days? What are you going to do when you get that big check? What does that connect to, right? Because then it makes all of this worth it instead of just working and not thinking about what you're working for. So those four processes are the most important. What you do for yourself in the morning. Build a process for your business that you know makes you successful. If you need help with that, I'm always here to help you. As a matter of fact, we have a weekly call recorded where we built the process for you with the templates and everything. We could reshare that with you. Number 3, what you do with your family and friends. And number 4, what you do for your passions and your rewards and keeping that in front of you. So now you build a process for that. Write down your goals and what's a process you're going to do every single day to remind yourself of your goals. What's a process you're going to do every single day to remind yourself of your gratitude? What's a process every day you're going to do to keep your health in tip-top shape? What's a process every day you're going to do to keep your family strong? What's a process you're going to do every single day to keep your relationship strong? What's a process you're going to do to focus on your passions and your rewards? What's your process for your morning? What's your process for marketing? You want to figure out how to market? Split up your lead flow and buy 4 different types of leads, 25% of your budget each, and track how many you write of each one. And then figure out which one you're the best at. And then track what time you write the loans and figure out what time they answer at. And track what message works the best, right? If you don't know how to build the process yet, then try a little bit of everything and find out what's good for you and what works for you. Build a process for your sales. My introduction is the same every time. I build relationships similar every single time. I pitch off emotions every single time. I follow up like a madman every single time. Email, text, and voicemail every single time. Weekends every single time. Thinking outside the box every single time. Build a process for your end process. When they hit conditional approval, they get an email every single time. When there's a tracking item, they get an email, text, and call every single time. When they're about to close, they get a congratulations call, email, text every single time. After they close, they get a referral, text, call, and email every single time. Build a process for your evenings. A lot of people, when they finish work, they clock out and they leave. If you could just do one thing, if you just add this one thing, and I've been doing this with teams for years, this one thing of sending out candy before you leave. And what that means is, RJ, today before you leave at night, like right before you leave, every single night, or if you leave early, come back at night and do this. Send 5 to 10 messages every single night. Hey, I know I talked to you today and you're going to give me those documents. Make sure I have them first thing in the morning. Hey, I know you had your son's soccer game and you want to talk to your wife. Make sure Melissa loves it. Hey, I know you're shopping this around. I'm checking up late on you because I'm always around. I'm going to be your guy. Hey, I know your house under appraised. I still think 5,000 cash makes sense. Let's keep this in process tomorrow. Like, just send out 5, 10 messages. Why? Because everything in life connects. What happens with those 5, 10 messages? You come in the morning to messages. You send 10 messages at night before you leave, and you come in the morning instead of being asked out. Oh, another day. I gotta fucking write some loans, dude. You know, instead of doing that, you come in and you're like, whoa, 6 text messages. All right, this guy's a little interested. This one I gotta fight. But it builds traction in your business. It builds traction in your business. So that was one of the things I did with my team. They weren't allowed to leave until they showed me 10 morning messages and 10 night messages. And they hated me for it at first because they're like trying to run out. They don't want to spend the extra 5 minutes. But after they spent the extra 5 minutes and sent the messages, they come in the next day, man, thank you. I'm writing a loan from that night message I sent. And like that's one small thing of sending messages out at night before you leave. Not even like pushing people, but just like touching them, you know, just tapping them. Because that extra tap might make them think like, man, this guy cares. Hey, Maria, enjoy the steak dinner you're going to have tonight. Make sure you get it extra well done. I love that restaurant. Let me know how it is. Hey, Hugo, let me know what happens with your dog, man. I'm going to keep him in my prayers. I hope that everything works out at the veterinarian. Hey, Isaiah, I know you had a rough day, man. I'm here for you. Let me know tomorrow if you need any help and take a picture of you working out tomorrow. Like if I call Isaiah tonight and tell him that, I guarantee you that connects to Isaiah's tomorrow. Because he's like, fuck, Ace is watching me now. I got to take a picture in the morning and show him I'm motivated and positive. And the crazy thing is, like, this is the secret to success. Jeff Bezos, for 10 years, every single day at 6 in the morning, he sent out 10 emails for recognition. He called it the no negativity hour. The first hour of the morning, he sends out 10 positive messages to his people. Why? Because he's starting positive connections. Now 10 people feel good in the morning. They got an email from Jeff Bezos. Now they're going to do good and make other people feel good. And it starts a chain reaction of everything in life connects. Build a process for your weekends. I always tell people, like, it's not that I'm working Saturday and Sunday and I have no life. I don't call it work on Saturday and Sunday. I call it coffee hour. I come with my coffee, I drink it, and I just try to write a couple loans. It's like a ritual for me now. I can't drink my coffee without taking calls on Saturday and Sunday. That's my process I built for the weekend. And build a process for your reward. Always have a 90-day goal in front of you. This is what I'm doing it for. And refresh it, renew it. If it's too big, make it smaller. If it's too small, make it bigger. But keep that in front of you at all times. And then most importantly, treat every moment as a gift. That is why it is called the present. Right? I have a thing where wherever I am, I give business cards. And it's crazy. I've been doing it for a couple of years, and those business cards probably generated like $50,000 in revenue. Why? Because instead of just smoking a cigarette outside, I'll smoke a cigarette and talk to a stranger that's also smoking a cigarette. Instead of just going into a gas station, I'll ask them, like, would you like to work as a mortgage banker? Instead of just getting in an Uber, I'll find out what's going on with them. I spent the most money in Florida tipping people. Not tipping bottle girls or bartenders, but tipping the nice little Uber driver, the old guy that was so nice, right? And just making positive connections. Giving money to homeless, like just trying to spread positivity down there with people so it could connect to more positivity. Like wake up tomorrow, send 10 messages out tonight, wake up tomorrow, send 10 messages out in the morning, do it again at night, do it for 10 days. Send 10 messages in the morning and 10 messages at night to 10 random clients that you think could connect to something and see what happens in your business. Do it personally. Send 10 messages to people on your phone you appreciate, family members you haven't talked to every single morning, and see what it does for them. I do it once in a while where I'll text people that I haven't talked to. Appreciate you so much. Still remember when you told me A, B, and C. And like, wow, man, I was just thinking about you yesterday. It's crazy you said that. Could I call you? And like that connects to something else. But if I never sent out that one message, maybe I never talk to that person again. Maybe me or them die in 5 years and we never talk again. So the simple connections that you make and treating every single moment like it's your last really matters, and it really creates a different lifestyle for you. So think about that next time. Should I just take my coffee from the Starbucks, or should I talk to this real estate agent in line behind me? Should I just get in this Uber car, or should I ask him if he needs a mortgage? Should I just delete this top performer's numbers that Danny sends out, or should I call him and ask him a question? Instead of the fear of not doing it, right? The fear of, oh, they're going to reject me. I'm going to look like a loser. Oh, what if I get shafted? Instead of that fear, flip it upside down. What if I called him and he gave me a great tip? What if the realtor gave me a shot? What if the Uber driver has a 6%? What if the marketing works? What am I missing out on by not doing it? And I think once you could do that, it truly changes your life around, as it's changed mine around. And of course, I'm not a machine. There is some times where I can't do it as well. I'm not in the mood for it, but I always try to remind myself by building a process in the morning. Here's what I'm grateful for. Here are my goals. Here's what I'm fighting for. Here's why I'm doing it all. Here's how I'm successful. Here's the actions that make me successful. Let me just keep doing the things that work without thinking about them. And I remind myself of that every single morning after I prep myself. So I know this wasn't specifically in sales and leads, but I guarantee you this is probably more important of a meeting than the last 10 meetings you had if you truly take it to heart and you truly execute on it. Understanding that every single move you make right now connects to another move. Are you going down a negative spiral? Or are you going up an inspirational, positive path that's going to connect to more positivity in your life? People with money generate money. People with complaints generate complaints. People that nag generate naggers. The naggers hang out with the naggers. The winners hang out with the winners. Why? Because everything in life connects. I believe that's how West Capital got started, is by everything connecting. And you made the 3 scariest decisions of all to get to where you are today. The first one was leaving your career at a top lender. The second one was leaving your career at another top lender. The third one was moving into a whole new state. Think about how many people would move across the country to start their dream and their passion, you know? And if you know anything about success, it's made in these horrific decisions, these ones that people are scared of. I was listening to Matthew McConaughey the other day. He was on a Tony Robbins seminar. He brought him in for a Q&A. And he was saying that he was known as he's won Grammys and Oscars. And you guys know Matthew McConaughey. He's a legend, right? He was known as a comedian for so long because all he did was comedies in the beginning of his career. Nobody would give him the drama. And he made a decision to move to Texas with his family and stop acting. He stopped taking any comedies for 2 years. In 2 years and a half, he got his dream script for this drama that he was denied for 2 years. He had to disappear for 2 years and a half, which was the hardest decision of his life. And that's what brought him on the journey to make 20, 30 of the best dramas and the best, acting films out there. And he says things like, these decisions, the greatest decisions and the greatest breakthroughs, are made through tragedy. He talks about green lights, orange lights, and red lights. He says, everybody loves the green lights. You got to go, right? You're going. But if life was all green lights, then you would eventually run out of gas. You'd eventually crash. The yellow lights is where you got to slow down, right? You might get sick. Something might pop up. You're not having a good month. Slow down, reevaluate, take stock in yourself. And he says the red lights are the tragedies. The red lights make you stop and stop moving and think about what's going on. Maybe have a setback to make a comeback, right? And he says life without oranges and reds and breaking through those oranges and reds is a life of average and is a life of not accomplishing anything. So all great things are done not through the comfort zone, but through the non-comfort zone. I even see, I seen him earlier on the call. I think he's still out there, but Daniel. Is Daniel still here? We might have lost him, but if you guys see him, the other Daniel, he goes on Instagram Live, right? And that takes guts to go on Instagram Live. And every time I see him on Instagram Live, I say that's going to connect to something for this guy, right? The fact that he goes on Instagram Live, he shares his screen, he talks about being a broker, what he's going through, the ups and downs. That takes courage and that takes guts. That's him. And I don't even know him, by the way. But that's him putting himself out there every single day and trying to make a connection. How many people on this call would go on live right now on Instagram and say, hey, I'm available to answer any questions. Let me know what kind of mortgage you're in. Let me do a calculation for you. Let me show you how I call people. How many people are willing to do that, right? But it's the fear of not doing that. What happens if he doesn't do that? How many connections is he going to miss? What does that comfort zone connection lead to? Another example that I just thought of is my wife. She was working at Rocket and she was very hard to get with. She didn't look at anybody. And I made a decision one day to write a little sticky note and say, would you like to go to the Tigers game with me? I got 2 tickets. And I was a little wimp, so I gave it to her on a Friday because I was going home for the weekend. So I said, if she shafts me, I'm going to be gone for the weekend anyways. I'll forget about it by Monday. I'll have a good weekend. And I handed it to her and I left. That decision led to her telling me she has a boyfriend when she didn't. And that made me want her more. And I decided to go ghost on her and focus on my production, right? And just try to adapt and become a director and become better. And so many small situations happened in between that just kept connecting. And I swear I kept looking at her and I kept looking at her Facebook and I kept telling people that she's going to be my wife. Like, you're not even talking to her. I'm like, I know, but trust me, it's going to happen. And I just had that vision in my head that it's going to connect somehow. And sure as shit, one day she hits me up on Snapchat like a year later. And that connected to something else, that connected to something else, that connected to something else, that connected to all this and my son. Imagine I would have said like, oh, I'm not going to give her the Tigers note, man. I don't want to get shafted. Like, where would I be now? My son wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be like that split decision. Even if we got together later, we wouldn't have the same life. Think about the way you were born. If your parents sneezed or farted a little different, you wouldn't be here. Literally, split second decision could be different for your whole life. And that's another example of everything in life connecting. So I'm right with you there. Hopefully everybody takes this call and the next 5 to 10 decisions you make are positive decisions that are going to connect to more positive things in your life, because you realize every split decision could matter and could connect to something else. And I'm sure you guys all have examples of this if you really think about it. Just don't go crazy like me and saying, should I turn left or right on this light? What is that going to connect to? Starbucks or Tim Hortons? What if I see somebody? Because it could drive you crazy sometimes too, if you should make the decision or not. Butterfly effect, exactly. All right, we got time for one more question. Does anybody got anything for us? Comment, question, anything? Everything in life connects. Speak up.
This is what I need today, man. I appreciate it.
Really?
Yeah, like really.
I love that.
Yep.
That's hitting me. It's making me emotional. I love you, brother. God bless you. I believe in you. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being on the call. And remember one thing. Everything in life connects. God bless. Thank you, guys.